every kid deserves somebody who is like obsessed with them.
Crazy about them.
Yes.
Yeah.
And us growing up with great parents, we had that.
Right.
And we are obviously that way about our children. And so I wish that I could just take all of the babies who don't have that and give that to them.
Well, and I think just on an emotional front, that's why I like talking about things that I guess in a weird way I say like are heartbreaking, but are just, they stir up emotion within you. That's not an accident. Like God and the Holy Spirit are trying to do something in our lives. And I think that we were all created for a purpose and on purpose. What is that? There's somewhere something rooted in that, especially with the idea of this whole concept of this podcast being the Natural Parents Podcast. Is just, okay, cool, yes, for families that exist right now, but also for the brokenness, the family that's not put together anymore, the thing that's the hole that's missing, or the missing link, so to speak. How do we do that?
Yeah.
Welcome to the Natural Parents Podcast, where we will cover all things faith, health, family, and wealth through a biblical perspective of putting things in life that matter most back into order. We're reminded in Matthew 6:33, where Jesus said, "But seek first the kingdom of God and all of his righteousness, and all of these things will be added unto you." Join us each week as we focus on what truly matters most in this life and passing those values on to the next generation. This is the Natural Parents Podcast with Ryan and Abbie Hukin. Solve all the world's problems yet?
Yeah, pretty much. Have you?
Just getting started. I'm busy creating more of them.
Yeah, you are. I get some of your problems solved, and then you're just over there.
You kind of are my problem solver.
I am.
Try to be anyway.
So I do think, been thinking a lot lately about
What?
I think I am going to enroll
Oh my.
in the U.S. Air Force. You're looking at your next female fighter, pilot, jet flyer.
Fighter.
Fighter. I got to get the terms down if I'm going to show up as
If you're going to be one.
Fighter, flight, jet pilot. I'm not sure which term to use, so I'm going to use them all there.
When you announced this to me, you told me that you were going to be, you're going to join the Air Force as a Air Force aviator.
Is that right?
I think that's
See, I'm just
fair.
trying out all the terms so that I know.
I know they say naval aviator, so Air Force aviator, I think. But if you're specifically were desiring to fly fighter jets, that's what's tough, is saying that without stumbling over your own tongue. But to fly fighter jets,
Navy? Or
no,
is that Air Force?
There's Air Force. There's
okay,
fighter
good.
jets.
Because I saw the Navy training and you have to be held underwater and do these weighted things.
You don't want to be waterboarded?
No. And so I think I'm fine on land and in the air, even though I'm terrified to fly on commercial flights. But I think I'll get over that.
So then you got pretty offended.
Yeah. Because then Ryan's like, I actually think you're too old for that. And then I feel like my life has now been just this ticking clock.
We're struggling.
I am so having a hard time. It's like there's this ticking clock.
Yes.
And I feel like I've got gray hair since you told me that.
I did have a gray hair in my beard the other day.
It might have been strawberry blonde.
Either way, it was getting pretty light colored. I feel like we're both getting older.
But I don't like that.
Not getting any younger.
If I can't be the one that flies it, I don't want to be the one that rides. I would go for a ride. Maybe.
We love the movie Maverick, right?
Yeah. Top Gun.
I say talk to me goose all the time. Mm-hmm. Because that's the one in the back. You wouldn't ride with me?
I could at least be the person on the ground cheering him on. I'd be doing toe touches for him.
You could do that. There's a little choreographed move.
Yeah.
No disrespect to the men and women that do that.
No, I think your job is really, really cool.
We're actually mesmerized by it. In fact, when I first started into college, I was playing baseball and kind of wanted to maybe pursue a life in the Air Force. At that point in time, what changed over the last, how many years? Oh, no. 15 years?
Yeah.
What's changed? Has it been that long? Almost 15 years?
Yeah.
12, 15 years? Because I wanted to be a fighter pilot, and you were like, no way.
I guess I didn't realize how cool it was.
I should have shown you Top Gun then.
Yeah, I had never seen it by that point.
How different would life be?
Oh, it'd be so different. But yeah, so that's my...
I don't know if that would... I guess that would solve some of the world's problems. You'd be a part of the solution. At least some people think so. Some people think you'd be a part of the problem.
Well, I think they're really cool.
I think they'd be blessed and lucky to have you.
Thank you.
Oh, if you guys don't watch us on YouTube and you're just listening, you have no idea what just happened. Abbie saluted me.
Just practicing.
She looked cute doing it. What else though? What's for real been on your mind?
Oh,
on your
that's
heart
about it.
No.
I told the kids we're moving.
No, what'd you actually tell them?
Oh, I don't remember.
You said you guys are already brats. Might as well be military brats.
I did. I said, well, we got step 1 there. We're halfway there.
We were kidding, y'all. Don't come for us.
Yeah.
Our kids are pretty sweet.
Yeah, they are sweet. They're very sweet. And they know how to take a joke, which makes them
Yeah, they did laugh.
great.
They did laugh. That's good.
So, other than that, things have been a little bit less entertaining than.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to follow that up with actually what's actually
planning my garden.
What's actually going on in our life, because you're not actually going into the Air Force. Spoiler alert, y'all.
I kind of want
She's
to,
not
though.
going.
The fact that I'm maybe too old and nobody believes me makes me a little bit like, I'll show you.
I'm almost certain you are too old.
I can't believe that. If I were willing to get vaccinated, I'd be enrolling just to prove it to y'all. But I'm not. So I guess I'll just stay here and pretend.
There's a lot of well, those recommendations to get better recently, maybe with
That is true.
RFK in the office. You might, maybe there's a loophole now.
There might be.
You could skip that process.
Won't get it. Keep y'all updated. But in other news, I am planting my garden back here in Missouri.
Back to reality, Slim Shady.
Yeah. Oh, so I'm focused on that.
What are you going to put in the garden this year?
Well, I told myself I'm just going to keep it to the basics of what I could do and preserve and keep.
And eat.
Yes, eat fresh.
We don't eat a lot of things that a lot of people grow in gardens.
No.
I mean, we maybe would if we did grow them, but we keep a pretty simplistic meal plan in our house.
Yeah, we do. And so
nutrient and calorie dense focus, right?
Right. I feel like that's something that goes the furthest is the most important. But, I said I'm just going to do a few staples, like good things that I could do really, really well. I got a list of like 20 things, and I don't know what happened, but I'm like, oh, well, I would want that, even if it's just for fresh eating in the summer, like okra, Omalanta. One of our friends gave us some okra from her garden, like late summer. It was too late to really grow any, but I tried, and it didn't work, but because it was just too late in the season. But good grief, that stuff is so good fried up. You made it so well, and it's a really good natural binder.
That's awesome.
Everybody could use a little bit of that.
Grabs a hold of things and helps you get them out.
Yeah.
It's a good thing. It's a good thing we tore down that garden fence that somebody installed for you.
Yeah.
So that we can expand the footprint of the garden.
I'm just grateful that you are always willing to do what I ask, even if that means I ask you to build something and then 2 years later I ask you to tear it down because I want my garden somewhere else. And I love that about you. I think it's a great trait to have.
Husbands, heads up. If your wife asks for a garden and you plan a large garden for her, don't put a fence around it. She's going to want it tore down. She's going to want it bigger. T-minus less than, felt boxed in.
Yeah, I did.
Limited.
I did. And I couldn't get a hold of the weeds.
That's true.
So, and now I think it's a new opportunity to move it to the backyard.
I just thought of the time where the weeds got really out of control and we just sacrificed it and you're in the garden mowing the whole thing down, just scalping it.
I'm like, I think the garden is laughing at me because when you see a full-blown lawnmower in the garden, like you've lost all control.
Right. It's pretty comical. Again, y'all, I think really practical note there. You can plant a garden and grow it and expand it. So don't put a fence around it and if you can avoid it. We thought when we first moved there, we thought we were going to have a real deer problem because deer were, we think, maybe eating your fruit trees.
Yes.
So I was like, well, I'll put this 6-foot fence all the way around the garden and deer won't get in there. We moved to the farm shortly after that, brought our dogs with us, and no deer ever got close to the garden ever again. And 2 years later, we tore out the fence and
I'm
are
talking
redoing it.
like fence pole posts
Set
and
in concrete.
Concrete. But our kids had a great lesson of how to tear them out.
Yeah, we had a creative, fun practice with
Mm-hmm.
that. Hooked the winch from the side-by-side to them and pulled them out.
And the kids were the ones driving the side-by-side, so
That's got to be, I'm really hoping that's like core memory for them.
Yeah, see? If had I not asked for fence, they wouldn't even have those memories.
No.
So, yeah, so gardening and sew projects. I love sewing.
If only your husband would finish your sew room.
Well, that's all right. It's on his list.
It's on my list. Isn't it a thing like Medusa, the Greek? I don't know if she's a goddess or what she is, but she's got like the snake hair and you cut one off and 10 grow back in its place.
Well,
That's what my to-do list feels like.
It is that. I'll believe that. So
both my own personal to-do list and the one that you have for me.
Yeah, so talk to me about your to-do list. Like, how do you prioritize your lists and what's on them?
Well, we were talking about today. It's kind of funny how we talked about how boxed your brain is. It's very categorical.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Even before, just in preparation for recording a podcast. You're like, well, should we talk about line items? I'm like, well, let's just get in and have some fun conversation and talk and see where we go. And you're like, no, my brain, I just want to go through the list. I'm like, well, my brain's more like, remember those, what did they call them when you got ready to write a paper and you had to, like a thinking chart or something along those lines?
It looked like a
brain map.
Maybe, yes.
You just call it a brain map.
Cloud.
It's like, yeah, one little cloud in the center and then you off of that and off of that. I feel like I have 476 clouds in the center that all just start offshooting and linking things together. And well, that's an idea and that's an idea. And so it's very hard on my to-do list, but there's always a lot going on in a good way, I think. So
yeah, my brain is just like, there's a start and there's a finish and it's all boxed in. There aren't just any random ideas floating around. They're all organized alphabetically or category.
Or your brain's ability to do that stresses me out, and I know mine stresses you out.
Mm-hmm. It's wild how two humans can exist and be like that. Like, I know there's more of you out there somewhere.
That's crazy.
All your random ideas floating around people without any action to them.
No. So, yes, that's very real. A lot of ideas, very quick to start the ideas, but I'm so grateful that God put you in my life because you helped me follow through on said ideas.
Good match.
Or find new ones for me to chase, like new gardens.
Yes, exactly. I'll keep you focused.
I like it.
So what else? What else are you working on?
The thing that comes is, I guess, most front and center in my brain right now is started writing my new book. Mm-hmm. Pretty excited about that.
You're doing great on it. You get a lot of words done today.
Yeah, I think I've got that is something I'm proud of myself for, is actually saying, okay, if I just do really like 500 to 800 words a day.
Yeah.
And so far it's flowed pretty well. Mm-hmm. The other morning I woke up early and I was kind of falling asleep and I felt like it just hit me like, oh, that's what I should write about. Mm-hmm. That's the start. And so that started it. And since then every morning some mornings I've done 1,000 words just because it's the concept. It's hard to get out in less words that I'm talking about, but I'm really excited about it. It's going to be all about the 7 pillars and bringing that ideology to the forefront. So you guys have to stay tuned for that. If you're a listener and you have heard us talk about the 7 pillars, I'm going to write a book. We're going to put it all down on paper so that you guys can actually apply it to your life, share it with your friends, your family, and help people be and live healthy and vital lives. My
favorite thing is to just have printed.
Right.
You know, like have a book that you can refer to in print that's not just digital or on your phone. So I think it'll be amazing. I'm excited for it. I am. What I don't know, because I've never done this, if you guys have ever written a book or you know somebody in publishing, hit me up, because I know that you can self-publish and you can do all these different things, get a publisher, and there's so many nuances to that. And the route, however that's supposed to go, I'm not overtly worried about it, but the thing I'm struggling with is that it's like, okay, we talk about this all the time. I have decided I'm writing a book and it's a
process. Like in my mind, as I just said, like I'm super quick to start, have no problem getting through the first chapter so far and kind of the introduction concepts of the book and all that. But it's like, I can see on the horizon is that, okay, daily writing. Okay, well then what? What's the next step? Again, somehow now we have, finished manuscript, need an editorial team, like all of these things. And that's like the traditional, again, there's a million different ways that I'm sure you can do it. But I'm like, oh gosh, how do I do all of those systems?
Yeah.
And you're so helpful for me in that, because once we establish that as a problem, we'll figure it out along the way. But right now, just trying to get all the thoughts down on paper or on computer screen. I guess technically I'm not actually writing it. I was thinking
think
about
you
that.
should, with it like a feather pen.
Yeah. I was like, wow, people, here I am thinking it's pretty cool to be able to type up a bunch of words. And think about that. People, when they used to write books, go way back, it was on stone and tablet.
Oh my goodness.
So some of the Bible was on stone tablets.
That's wild.
Or at least in parts of what became the Bible, I guess. Like I was thinking like 10 Commandments. Moses coming off the mountain with his stone tablets. I guess he could have wrote them on anything.
Yeah.
But to write the Bible on parchment and scrolls and things like that, much better, much easier to do it on a computer.
Yeah, it is. Gosh, grateful for that. Did you know that we spend about a third of our lives in bed? That's over 8 hours a day that our body should be resting, healing, and restoring. But did you ever stop to think about what we're breathing in during that time? Most mattresses today are made with synthetic foams, flame retardants, and chemicals that release toxins into the air, especially while we sleep. That's why we made the switch to My Green Mattress, made with only clean, organic materials. There's no chemical smell, no off-gassing, just a pure supportive mattress that helps your body truly rest and recover the way it was designed to. As a family, that peace of mind is worth everything. If you want to create a healthier home from the inside out, go check out the link in our description. You'll see exactly why we love our green mattress and why we'll never go back. As parents, we love finding natural ways for our family to feel their best, and that is why we chose Llama. They make genuine Baltic amber jewelry for both kids and adults, known for its soothing and grounding properties. For little ones, it's a beautiful natural option to help with teething and inflammation, and for adults, it can help ease tension and bring a sense of calm throughout the day. Each piece is handcrafted from authentic Baltic amber. It's never plastic, never imitation, just simple, natural comfort that fits your lifestyle. Check out the link in our description to shop Llama, natural comfort for the whole family. What is something that you want to see like less of in the world?
There's a lot that I would like to see less of in the world. The one that comes top of mind is just like, I don't know, child endangerment, I guess, is a topic. I mean, we talk about that all the time. The whole premise and concept of what we want to do is obviously see Christ put in the center of homes, but I feel like the real victims of broken homes are kids. And yes, we have issues with that here in the United States for sure, but third world countries even too, like just the idea and the thought keeps me up at night about like our babies get tucked in and a loving home and prayed over and kissed and tucked into bed, and there's kids out there that don't have that. And so that hurts. Like I actually feel like I empathically just like feel that in my bones. And then the other thing is I see people, and this isn't in a holier than thou ideology at all. I just see people that are just struggling in life in general, especially like with their health. And it really breaks my heart because so much of that is just rooted in the brokenness of our society. Like I don't think God ever designed it for us to be, struggling in this life. Like his idea was the Garden of Eden and perfect harmony with him in this world. That's what he set forth when he created the world. None of that stuff did he have intention of existing. And yet here we are living it out. And we get, I think, so many of us, everybody, especially in a blessed country like America, we think that our struggle is struggle, and we've never struggled a day in our life. I was saying that to our kiddos the other day. One of them said, "Dad, this is hard." I'm like, oof, I'm sorry, I love you, but you don't know hard. I don't know hard, right? Like,
we ate at that restaurant
that was cool.
that donates every meal you order, it donates a meal to a starving child.
Absolutely.
And so then we got to have that really cool conversation with the kids about starving children. And it had a statistic. I don't remember exactly what it was, but a certain amount of kids die every day from starvation.
Yeah.
And we told that to our kids and we're talking about it and it blew their mind.
Yeah. Over 6,000 kids a day. And people talk about that a lot. And I think it's a pure and a really good concept to run after, because we see it like hunger would probably be one of the easiest things to solve for.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, so shameless plug for them. But Tacos for Life was the name of the restaurant. And for every meal, like an entree that you ordered, whether it was a singular taco was less than $5. I think the taco I got was $4.89. Everybody got tacos, got a quesadilla for everybody to try. And like each meal, I think it was like, they showed you that's like, oh, that was 7 meals donated. Yeah. And so then they, had their business model figured out to where they could actually keep their margins healthy enough to where then they could get a meal, which was a simple meal. Don't get me wrong. It's like basic nutrition, kind of like something, it's something, and it's way better. And how that's a solvable problem for the world. I think that company, 40 million meals have been donated on behalf of their patrons. And I was like, wow, what a cool concept. Like that kind of stuff. I said, this is my new favorite restaurant. It's the first time we ever ate there. I hadn't even tried the food yet. I was like, that's fine. It'll eat. So
yes. And it was great.
And
too.
It turned out it was actually delicious. So highly 10 out of 10 recommend Tacos for Life, because, and just anybody, I think John Piper has a book called Don't Waste Your Life.
Yeah.
And I go back to it every once in a while. I've read it a few different times, or maybe parts of it here or there, and just feel like it gets laid on my heart to read it. I have it in Audible and print form, and I go back to it, and he talks about like a wartime mindset. And I think the mundaneness of our life leads us into thinking that we live in times of peace. Here in America, we have it pretty good. And so we start looking around for things that aren't perfect, and suddenly those become big glaring issues that are really not a big deal in the grand scheme of things. When there's children that aren't living in safe environments, there's people and children dying of starvation in the world, that there's plenty of resources to take care of the people that are on this planet. So that's definitely the biggest things that are on my heart lately. And I'm not always sure what to do about them, but I always want to be moving in direction of doing something about them.
Yeah, just being aware can always just help those next steps of what you want to do
with
that, for sure.
Right. Prayer is an effective strategy for that, even if your heart breaks for them too. Like that is something that I think you can do to actually make a positive impact on it. There's power in prayer. I think sometimes we're like, well, I can't do anything else, so let me pray. It's like, well, before I do anything else, let me pray and see what doors that God opens up. I think so.
Yeah, because you never know.
You feel like anything comes to mind, like when I say that, God opening doors or closing doors, do you feel like there's anything like that in our life recently?
Yes.
Opened or closed?
Always. I feel like the last few years, probably more so than like the last 5, but I'd say the last few years have been a lot of that.
Yeah.
Some easier than others, some really, really hard. And, it's just some of it, it's like, you never thought that would either be you, or you never thought that is what the relationships would look like, that it was, you know what I mean?
Sure.
Just different things. And that's where, when you were talking about families and the family structure, and it's just something that when you're a kid, you don't think that your family will ever not. And it's like, sometimes that's just a reality for kids who are maybe mom and dad aren't there, or they're in foster care, or they don't have that stability. What was that quote that you had talked about? Every kid deserves somebody who is like obsessed with them.
Crazy about them.
Yes.
Yeah.
And, us growing up with great parents, we had that.
Right.
And we are obviously that way about our children. And so I wish that I could just take all of the babies who don't have that and give that to them. Sure.
Well, and I think just on an emotional front, that's why I like talking about things that, I guess in a weird way, I say like are heartbreaking, but they stir up emotion within you. That's not an accident. Like God and the Holy Spirit are trying to do something in our lives. And I think that we were all created for a purpose and on purpose. what is that? There's
Yeah.
somewhere something rooted in that, especially with the idea of this whole concept of this podcast being the Natural Parents Podcast. Is just, okay, cool. Yes, for families that exist right now, but also for the brokenness, the family that's not put together anymore, the thing that's the hole that's missing, or the missing link, so to speak. How do we do that?
Yeah. I don't know that there's no like for sure answer or solution to it, but I think it's just small baby steps that even if it's not this specific generation, maybe the next generation.
Right. Well, and that's something too. Like we talk about doors, and I always reference scripture on, the word. God's word is a lamp unto our feet and a light unto our path. And I think paths can have doors or gates or whatever you want to call it. And we might not even see those ones that are opening and or closing along the way, because the lamp ideology is, a lamp is like a lantern, is just this little bit of light out in front of us. We're not seeing years and things down the road. I think it's just about being faithful to the calling that we have right now. And so my idea is that anybody, that would obviously be listening to this podcast is a parent probably. And so we've been called, I think, to steward our children well, which is a weird concept I was thinking about the other day. Like stewardship, we talk about that a lot in our time and our talents and our treasures. The greatest treasure I think we do have as parents is our children. And there's the scripture about, well done, my good and faithful servant. And it goes on to say, enter into the kingdom with your master's delight, basically. And I was thinking, he says, you've been trusted with little, now you'll be given much. And again, just so much theologically you get into there. But I was thinking about that actually relative to our kids the other day, because we, in a weird way, are actually just stewards of our children. Steward means it's not yours. You're just making sure that the master, if you will, God, gets a return on it. And so that was a wild thought that I was having the other day that I wanted to talk to you about. And now we're going to do it here, I guess. But thinking about that, our kids, yes, they're our children, but only because God trusted them to us, and they're really his children. And so how do we point them in the right direction? How do we steward that relationship and their brains and their lives and all that stuff?
It makes me nervous.
Right.
You know what I mean? It makes me nervous because it's I want them to just be mine.
Right.
I kind of go into no, because I don't want you just, so it makes me nervous, but it also is just such a good perspective to make sure that you're doing everything through that lens.
Everything, quite literally, our whole lives. Again, we sometimes lose sight of it because we think of ourselves pretty loftily. But right before we started recording, I was just talking about the most important thing that we think about. A.W. Tozer says it. The most important thing that we think is what we think when we think about God. And it's and he's a really good dad, and he loves us a whole lot. How can we then take that down and run with it with a relationship with our kids? How do we do that? If we're seeing God in that light, then how can we model that for our children? I know that's been my prayer a lot lately is Lord, let them see your love through me. How can I do that better? Because I definitely get it wrong all the time.
No, I mean, and I think that goes with anything. I saw something that said, basically, if you don't want your kids to be addicted to electronics, then they can't see you on electronics all of the time. And I think it's the same way with how we speak, how we think, how we act,
right?
How we do all of that.
Right. They'll model our behavior. So if we do a good job as best as we can to model the behavior that God wrote out for us in his book, we might start to get more of it right than wrong.
Yeah. What has been your favorite thing lately?
Lately, I think my favorite thing is, it's the same thing since we had kids. It's just time with our family. We've conceptualized a little bit this year. We haven't put any plans on paper of the idea of making some trips. And I've been thinking a lot about just how we could spend that kind of time together, because while we do a pretty good job of carving out family time, I feel like vacation family time, at least even our more recent vacation that we did where we took the RV. I don't think we ever talked about that on here, but doing that was so cool because I feel like we did have so much time with the kids, and phones down, electronics off, no work, no, none of that kind of stuff, just time exploring God's creation. Cause we did a lot of, camping type activity type stuff, hiking and things like that. I love that. That's some of my favorite stuff. Watching our daughter, even just this morning, she did something on her own for the first time, just learned it conceptually. She looked, somebody had given her a gift. It was one of those fortune tellers, they call them, like the little 4x4 box things. And she really liked it, but she wanted to make her own. And so she just unfolded it, folded it together. And she was having trouble with the very last part. And she was like, Mom, it's there, but how do I make it into a diamond? I think she was saying. And so you grabbed it and we're kind of looking at it, and she was like, and so she got it in her hands after you helped her with that very last step, kind of fold it together. And just this, she was just looking at the thing, and just total joy and smile came on her face. And I was seeing her have that sense of accomplishment and achievement of like, she did it. And, you know, obviously we were kind of giving her some praise in that too, which is so cool to be able to do, but to be there and see that just anytime that we get time as a family together. That's my favorite stuff.
Yeah. And I love seeing their little brains work. And right now we're doing, we call it a read aloud book that I'm reading to the kids, and we would read one chapter and then we were trying to tell you all about it. And you're like, wait, that sounds like a book I would love to listen to.
Got me in.
And so I feel like that's like my favorite part is in the evenings, you all lay on the floor and I sit in the chair and I read a few chapters of this book. And it is just such a great little book with a good story and good character traits in it that I feel like right now it's one of my favorite things because we're all together.
Sure.
We're all captivated. Our imaginations are all going. And I love seeing when they can recall what's going on, or, you know,
sure,
we'll talk about an event that had just happened in the book and they can recall it and say what went wrong and what they should have done and all of that.
And I think it permits, you know, we've talked so many times about like the love languages concept. I think all of us as a family seem that quality time is fairly high on our love languages. And I also think that you can roll through some different seasons of life where a love language one is higher than another or something like that. But that is something that I feel like we have all enjoyed so much. Whereas before, and two, we've made it pretty intentional of not that we've ever done a lot of TV at all, but we just don't have much TV focus in our life. Maybe a show here or there that we get on, you know, you and the girls will be on one, or me and Jenny's will be on something like that. And it's cool because you're there and you're in the moment and you're around each other. Right. But it's just, I've noticed that being different from a quality time standpoint of you're reading that book aloud to us and we are laying in the floor, and there's a different level of presence when we're all listening to a book. And I don't know like the metaphysics of that, but as a person, I just feel things very empathically. And that has been a different feeling to me that I've loved a ton lately, as opposed to if we were going to sit down and watch a movie, which there's been some amazing movies and we love them and quote them as you know, the kids are great at quoting movies and stuff like that. But to just do that differently with a book, I think if you guys that are listening have never done that or have gotten away from it or whatever, that would be a really cool practice. Find a little family book time, story novel type book to dive into together. Yeah, it really is. And there's so many different websites that are these mom blogs that have different recommendations that they share the values that we have of, you know, the types of books that we would be reading and wanting our kids to be reading. And then they have them categorized by age group. You know, age appropriate. And so that's where it's also fun that our kids are so close in age, but I don't think that we will be stopping this routine. I love it. No, and I think it's something, you know, from the time that the kids were little, we would read aloud, we would do their books, and there's just not much sustenance. Although I love it to Little Blue Truck, it is still just Little Blue Truck. It's not a, you know, this novel aspect of things. And so I think we've longed for that from our kiddos. Yeah. And now they're at the age where I think their attention spans permit it. Yeah. You know, their brains, their frontal lobes have grown enough to where they can do that. Whereas in past seasons of life, we might have wanted to do that. So if your kiddos are younger than 5 or 6, for sure, it's going to be tougher, you know, because we've tried to do like the Chronicles of Narnia and different things like that. And we've, you know, you get some success, and this one has short chapters. So it's kind of like update. It's been really good. So if you're not there yet, but you've desired like us to be there, it might just be a not yet thing, but it is coming, and put that on the radar of something to look forward to, because it's really cool. It is.
Okay, well, thanks for hanging out with me and talking to me about all of our happenings and gonna be happenings.
Gonna be happenings. Abbie's not joining the Air Force, y'all.
I might. Look for my picture.
She won't be.
I might be.
Maybe you can go for that.
No, I will be. You can see me. I'm not too old. So we might be moving soon. Look for our garage sale.
Y'all, she's kidding.
Kinda. But we'd love to know what is going on in your life and what your dreams and aspirations are. So make sure that you keep us in the loop about you as well. From the bottom of our hearts, we want to say thank you for listening. If you enjoyed this podcast, please share it with someone you know and leave a review. By doing so, we're able to grow this community of amazing people just like you and raise a generation of children that know God and do His will on earth. We'll see you next time.
This is the Natural Parents Podcast with Ryan and Abbie Hukin.